My husband brought back his childhood sweetheart, saying that he needed to take care of her for a while. That well turned out to be 12 years. For his sake, I endured all the humiliation. I even wished I could take out my heart and lungs for Winnie. But all I got in return was that they went even further. When Winnie got eczema, Ashton asked me to move to the north bedroom. He didn't care that I was weak and got a high fever from the cold. I begged him to take me to the hospital. But he turned a deaf ear. What's the fuss? You're an adult. Can't you go to the hospital by yourself? I thought that as long as I kept pretending to be stupid and turned a blind eye, it would be okay. But I didn't expect to catch my husband and his childhood sweetheart having sex. The heart that had been beating for him finally died. Heartbroken. I ran out and got into a car accident. When I opened my eyes again, I actually went back to the day when he brought his childhood sweetheart home. In the room, Ashton was helping Winnie move her things. Winnie stood at the door, looking coy. I'm sorry, Sister Yvonne. I'll be bothering you for a while. If she were really sorry, she wouldn't have come. Women always say one thing and do another. I ignored her and instead took out my suitcase and took out my clothes one by one. Ashton grabbed my wrist, his eyes full of dissatisfaction. Yvonne, what are you doing? Winnie is divorced. In Xicheng. She only knows me. We grew up together. You can't expect me to just sit back and do nothing. Can you? He used the same excuse in the previous life. I was reborn. Reborn to the time when my husband brought his childhood sweetheart home. At that time, regardless of my objections, he kept morally blackmailing me. Yes. Winnie was so pitiful. But was that an excuse for her to steal someone else's husband? I didn't say anything. Let go of me. I'm going out to clear my mind. I shook off Ashton and packed my luggage. Just taking a few simple clothes. I didn't want to see these two scumbags. They were really an eyesore. This time, it would be better not to see them. Her family has encountered changes. Can't you have some compassion? You're also a woman. Why can't you put yourself in her shoes? Yvonne. Seeing that he couldn't stop me, Ashton turned my suitcase away and didn't even have the mood to continue packing Winnie's things. I looked at the luggage scattered all over the floor and frowned at him. Winnie carefully tugged at the cuff of Ashton's shirt. I have to say that the white dress made her look pitiful. Even I was deceived by her appearance in the previous life. And Ashton was even more defenseless against her. Ashton. Forget it. I'm the one who's causing trouble. It seems that I'm not welcome anywhere. This is my fate. I'll figure out something else on my own. Ashton stopped her. It's okay. Just stay here at ease. Winnie looked so pitiful. I ignored them. After packing my things, I directly pulled my suitcase and left. Before I could walk out the door, Winnie held Ashton's arm and said coquettously, Ashton. Go and bring Sister Yvonne back quickly. I'm the one who's disturbing your life. I'll leave. Leave her alone. Who knows what's wrong with her? Ashton still felt angry and shouted at me. If you have the guts to leave, don't come back. I didn't stay for a moment and left even more resolutely. In the previous life, when Winnie first came in, I thought she was pitiful and took care of her meticulously. But my sincere treatment was repaid with even worse behavior. Winnie was afraid of dampness and cold. When she got eczema, Ashton asked me to move to the north bedroom. He didn't know that I had a poor constitution. In the middle of winter, the north bedroom was still drafty. And I had a fever for 3 days and 3 nights. I mustered up my strength and grabbed Ashton's arm. Husband. I don't feel well. Can you accompany me to the hospital? We both looked up at the same time. Winnie broke a vase. And her fingertip was cut. A small wound the size of a mosquito oozed a few drops of blood, and she shed tears from the pain. Ashton pushed me away and held Winnie's hand. Are you okay? I'll take you to get it bandaged. Her hand would have been fine in 2 more seconds. But I could have lost my life after having a fever for 3 days. After that, Ashton just tried to persuade me. Winnie has no parents. We grew up together. I'm her only family member. You can't expect me to just stand by and do nothing. Can you? No matter what you think. Since she calls me brother, I can't just ignore her. Don't be so petty. Isn't there a concert of your favorite singer tomorrow? I've already bought the tickets. Tickets, has I? Yes, heading fulfilled my obsession. The concert tickets. I was full of joy waiting for this concert. Before going out, Ashton stood in front of me with Winnie. Yvonne. You often go to his concerts. Winnie has nothing. Can you give this ticket to her? Winnie put on a false show. Am I causing trouble? Ashton. Forget it. I'm just forcing you to do something difficult for you. In the end, I gave my ticket to the two of them. In the WeChat moments, the two of them were so intimate that they looked like a real couple. So what was I? I could pretend not to see all these things. I blinded myself, thinking that as long as I endured it, it would be okay. Until that day, Ashton didn't come home after meeting with clients all night. I was worried and cooked a pot of soup for him and took it to him. Just as I was about to enter the office, his assistant stopped me, saying that President Ashton was talking to clients. But I clearly heard the sound of moaning. I didn't believe it and pushed the assistant aside and went straight to the office. Just through the crack, I saw the two of them having sex on the desk. Even the soundproof wall couldn't block the sounds of their pleasure. At that moment, I, who had been holding on to the marriage for more than 10 years, gave up. As soon as I went out, I ran into a van head-on. Before losing consciousness, I looked at the entrance of the office building. I made such a commotion. How could Ashton not hear it? He just didn't want to care. In fact, many times I knew what was going on, but I was just pretending to be stupid, thinking that if I just pretended, this life would pass. How many times when I was sick and had a fever, Ashton didn't care at all. But as long as there was the slightest thing wrong with Winnie, he would be as anxious as if the house was on fire. To him, Winnie was the most important. And I was just a dispensable wife that he couldn't get rid of. I had sacrificed so much for Ashton. And it was time for me to live for myself. I booked a hotel to stay in. As soon as I settled down, I made a phone call. Senior. I've thought about it. I want to participate in the project in Xicheng. In the previous life, my senior invited me to participate in the project in Xicheng. When I learned that I had to go on a business trip for 2 years, I refused. To take care of Ashton. I had no life of my own and didn't have a single friend around me. This time, I won't be so silly and wait. My senior was a bit surprised. Are you really sure? It's a 2-year project. Because of the project's confidentiality, you can't lead Xicheng. Is your husband really okay with that? I've made up my mind. Okay. I'll pick you up in a month. Just use this time to deal with the things at home. I set a special reminder on my phone. After packing my luggage, I ordered a takeout. The money in my phone was just enough to pay for the hotel for a month. I had been taking care of the family wholeheartedly and had long since lost my job. I had been living on the pocket money given by Ashton. He gave me 1,000 yuan a month, and I had to use it for daily necessities like firewood, rice, oil, and salt. Fortunately, heading fulfilledly, he didn't always eat at home, and over time, I got used to it. I could save a few dozen or 100 yuan each month. Over time, I could save more than 10,000 yuan. Just as I was thinking about how to live frugally, there was a knock on the door. I thought it was the hotel staff bringing water. As soon as I opened the door, I saw Ashton standing outside with a gloomy face. Do you know how long I've been looking for you? Winnie was so worried about you that she didn't even have lunch. How long are you going to act willfully? Do I need you to look for me? If you have nothing else, leave. You're not welcome here. Just as I was about to close the door, Ashton blocked the door with his foot. Winnie cooked a table of food to apologize to you. Come back with me and apologize to Winnie. And this matter will be over. Yvonne. Don't be ungrateful. I was also furious. Me, heading to fulfill my obsession. Ungrateful? You brought a stranger home without my consent. Are you being reasonable? What your relationship with Winnie is your own business. I have no obligation to take care of her. Ashton just wouldn't leave. And I was too lazy to talk nonsense with him, so I just let him be. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Ashton got anxious. How long are you going to keep acting like this? You just don't want to see Winnie, right? Fine. I'll find a house for her tomorrow and let her move out. Just come back with me. It wasn't just that I didn't want to see Winnie. I didn't want to see him either. Ashton was about to say something when he suddenly received a call, and he had to swallow the words. Winnie. What's wrong? His tone was obviously much gentler. I didn't bother to listen and walked to the door and pushed Ashton away. There were people in every room of the hotel. His behavior would affect other people's rest. And besides, it was embarrassing. As soon as I got closer, I heard the person on the other end of the phone crying. Ashton. I accidentally broke the jade bracelet on the bedside. It's not important. Right? I just wanted to clean the room and wait for Sister Yvonne to come back. I didn't do it on purpose. My mind went blank. The bracelet on the bedside was given to me by my mother-in-law when I got married. My mother-in-law said that it was the dowry her mother gave her, and she wanted to pass it on. I had been taking care of it carefully all these years and didn't dare to wear it often. And now it was broken? It's okay. Just wait for me to come back. Just as he was about to leave, I chased after him. On the way, Ashton was still trying to persuade me. Winnie didn't do it on purpose. She's timid. Don't be harsh on her. If you cherish her so much, buy a house and support her. I don't owe her anything. We're all human beings for the first time. Why should I spoil her? After that, I slammed the door and went into the room, leaving Ashton standing there in a daze. I had never lost my temper with him before and had always been submissive. He was used to it. He thought that if he said a few words of explanation to me, I would be okay. When Winnie saw that it was me who came in, her expression froze immediately. And she asked me directly, "Where's Ashton? Did you break it on purpose?" Winnie came closer to me and smiled triumphantly. "Yes, heading fulfilled by obsession. I just can't stand you. Yvonne, hadn't so wide sigh. Do you think Ashton will side with me or you?" Before I could say anything, she suddenly fell to the ground and shouted. "No." Ashton pushed me aside and shouted at me sternly. "Yvonne, hadn't fulfilled my obsession. What are you doing? If you have any grievances, take it out on me. But if anything happens to Winnie, I won't let you go." The two of them put on a really good show. I sneered but didn't want to pay attention to them. I squatted down and carefully sorted out the broken pieces of the bracelet. It was difficult to repair a broken jade bracelet, and Ashton wasn't unaware of that. My relationship with him was just like the broken bracelet, broken beyond repair. Ashton, what animal sigh. Don't blame Sister Yvonne for being angry. It's my fault. I'm so clumsy. I just wanted to help clean the room, thinking that Sister would be in a better mood when she came back and would forgive me. She lowered her eyes, and a tear fell. She acted so pitifully. "Yvonne, Winnie has already apologized to you. Can't you be more magnanimous? She was frightened, and because of you." I shook my head helplessly. "What does that have to do with me? She broke my thing and then fell down by herself. I didn't touch her at all from the beginning to the end." Ashton held her in his arms and comforted her for a long time. He seemed really heartbroken. "It's just a bracelet. Don't be so materialistic. Mom can just buy you another one. Why are you being so petty?" Winnie leaned against Ashton's arms and shot a provocative look at me. "I can't do anything right. So it's only natural for her to hold it against me. Sister Yvonne, if you don't plan to forgive me, I'll just leave. Please don't be angry with Ashton." She bit her lip, looking as if she was about to cry. I sneered. "Winnie, don't just talk but not leave. If you're going to get lost, do it sooner rather than later." She was so angry that she clenched her fists and walked straight up to me, lowering her voice. "Tell me, do you think Ashton will chase after me if I walk out?" "Ashton, it's all my fault. I'll just leave." After saying that, she trotted away. Ashton wanted to chase after her, but he stopped and turned back to look at me. "Yvonne, if I had known you would be like this, I wouldn't have married you in the first place." I shrugged unfairly. "It's not too late to realize it now. We can get a divorce." I was serious. I had long wanted to get away from this home. Coincidentally, Ashton brought it up. "I hope he will do what he says." Ashton pointed at me. "Yvonne, you'll regret it. I'll give you one more chance. If you apologize now, I'll still consider it. Otherwise, having fulfilled me, we'll have to get a divorce. I don't need a chance. I couldn't ask for anything better. Let's meet at the Civil Affairs Bureau at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Whoever doesn't show up is a coward. I carefully put away the broken bracelet, pushed Ashton aside, and went back to the hotel. The next morning, I packed my things, took the marriage certificate, and went to the Civil Affairs Bureau to wait. It took a while for Ashton to arrive. He had a dark expression on his face. Do you really have to do this? This guy is really ridiculous. He was the one who brought up the divorce. And now he's the one saying all these things. I ignored him and went straight into the hall. After going through the procedures, we had a 1-month divorce cooling off period. When Ashton went out, he looked at me seriously. Come back and live at home. You still have a month to think it over. In fact, we don't have to come to this. I just hate that I was blind in my previous life and didn't tend all this sooner. No need. I'm fine outside. I wanted to refuse him. But before I could finish, Ashton said nervously, "Move back. I won't let Winnie appear in front of you during this time." I didn't refuse. There were still a lot of my things at home. I made him promise to keep his word. I packed my luggage from the hotel and moved back home. In fact, I didn't have many things. Just a few clothes and some cosmetics. It only took 2 suitcases to move them. All these years, my life had revolved around Ashton. I only thought about what I could do for him. And I always put his needs for food and clothes first. After simply tidying up, I went to the kitchen and cooked a meal. Just enough for one person. I thought Ashton would go back on his word and turn around to bring Winnie back. Unexpectedly, Henan fulfilled my obsession. He wasn't at home for 3 consecutive days and didn't even show up. That was fine. At least I could have some peace and quiet. During these 3 days, I sorted out all the things at home, and the traces of my presence gradually decreased. Looking at the approaching day of leaving, time seemed to pass more slowly. I thought Ashton had someone to keep him company outside and wouldn't come back. But I didn't expect him to come home on the 3rd night. I had just cooked some noodles and was about to take a bite when the door suddenly opened. Ashton came back, looking a bit haggard. "Yvonne, I'm hungry. I want to eat the noodles you cooked." I didn't even look up. "Cook whatever you want yourself. Or go to your Winnie." After all, this was how it had been during this time. The only possibility for Ashton not to come home was that he was with Winnie outside. "Do you really have to bring this up? Yvonne, I came back to see if you had repented, not to listen to your sarcasm." I clenched my fist slightly. Why should I repent? Do I have to feel guilty for throwing away a pile of garbage instead of digesting it myself? It's really ridiculous. He took a deep breath, seemingly trying to calm himself down. "That's enough. How are we going to explain to Mom if we really get a divorce? As long as you apologize, this matter will be over. You were the one who brought up the divorce. And you were the one who brought Winnie back. It's my right not to like someone. Why should I apologize?" "Ashton, you're really unreasonable." Even though I had been hurt once, when I saw Ashton's face as he lectured me, I still felt a pang. He was the person I had loved without reservation. He was about to say something more. I knew it would just be some irrelevant nonsense. So I simply got up, went back to my room, closed the door heavily, and locked it in one smooth motion. Ashton kept chasing after me and knocked on the door. "Yvonne, how dare you slam the door on me? When did you become so mean?" When? When he was lingering with Winnie regardless of my life and death. Ashton didn't even come to see me until I was on the verge of death. Am I mean? I just want to let this wretched couple be together and stop them from hurting others. I remained silent. After shouting a few times, Ashton got tired and left. With his temper, he would definitely slam the door and go to Winnie for comfort. I hope he will stay quiet for a while and let me get through this month quickly. The next morning, when I got up to drink some water, the dining table was already filled with breakfast. Ashton was wearing an apron and buffing himself in the kitchen. After being married for so many years, I didn't know Ashton could do this. The first time I found out was when I saw it in Winnie's private message. She asked me, I didn't expect Ashton to be so good at cooking. You're really lucky. But this luck will be mine in the future. It turned out that Ashton's incompetence was only towards me. You're awake? Hurry up and eat. It was rare that we weren't at each other's throats. So I didn't want to ruin the atmosphere and simply sat down. I don't know why there's a rift between you and Winnie. But you must have misunderstood. I put down my chopsticks and immediately lost my appetite. Just as I was about to leave, he got up and grabbed my hand. Winnie and I aren't what you think. We're just friends who grew up together since we were kids. I treat her like a sister. But she doesn't treat Ashton as a brother. I took his hand away and smiled faintly. So what? We'll get a divorce in a month. You don't need to explain your relationship with her to me. And it doesn't matter anyway. Yvonne. Can't we talk properly? You know I don't want to. Before he could finish, Winnie's call came in. I shrugged indifferently. He didn't answer and continued to explain. You're overthinking it. Don't project your dirty thoughts onto me and Winnie. I tried to see through his hypocrisy. Winnie's call came in again. It was so frequent that something must have happened. I crossed my arms. I can believe that there's nothing between you two. As long as you don't answer her call. Ashton also knew that it was always something trivial. But he couldn't help being concerned. Even a small matter would be blown out of proportion. I quietly looked at him, waiting for his attitude. Ashton still picked up the phone. What if something really happened to Winnie? Yvonne. Be more magnanimous. Winnie cares about you a lot usually. I didn't say anything. After he answered the call, his frown deepened. He said anxiously. Is the fever serious? Don't cry. I'm coming right away. I still remember. In my previous life. When I had a fever for 3 days and was almost dying. He frowned impatiently and said, Are you a child? Can't you go to the hospital when you're sick? In the end, I called the ambulance myself. The doctor asked me why I didn't come to the hospital until now when I had a fever of 40 degrees. Didn't my family care about me? Did I have a family or not? What was the difference? So, the contrast between love and lack of love is very obvious. He picked up his coat, walked out, and then turned back as if he had thought of something. Winnie has a fever. And I can't not go. You eat by yourself first. I'll come back when she's okay. Don't think too much. Think about our situation carefully. We don't have to come to this. Do we? I ignored him. After Ashton left, I went back to my room as if nothing had happened. In the blink of an eye, 1/3 of the month had passed. I had to come up with a new project plan before participating in the project. Although I had my senior's support, I couldn't just rely on my connections. By the time I finished, it was already dark. Ashton called me many times and sent a lot of messages. They were all saying that Winnie was in a serious condition, that he would be back later, asking me to eat by myself, and some other useless words of concern. I deleted the records and went to bed. I usually slept soundly through the night, but suddenly an arm wrapped around my waist in the middle of the night. I woke up with a start and instinctively moved away and got out of bed. Ashton was a bit dissatisfied. What's wrong? What are you doing? He was a bit annoyed. What's wrong with me holding my wife while sleeping? I've already given you a way out. Don't be too excessive. Do I have to take the way out just because he gave it? I explained. We're about to get a divorce. Let's sleep in separate rooms. I went out to the second bedroom. Not long after I left, I heard the sound of things being smashed in the room. Judging from the sound, he should be very angry. When I got up early in the morning, Ashton was sitting at the dining table with a dark face. I ignored him and planned to wash up and go out for breakfast. Mom knows about our divorce. I paused in the middle of getting water. Sooner or later, she would find out. It's better that she knows now. Otherwise I don't know how to tell my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law is the kindest person to me in this family. She's the only one who treats me like her own daughter. My phone suddenly vibrated. It was my mother-in-law calling. My eyelids couldn't help twitching twice. Mom. You two just decided to get a divorce on your own like this? Both of you stay at home and wait for me. I'm coming over by car right now. If my mother-in-law comes, it's going to be a huge mess. Mom. You don't have to go through all this trouble. I'll come to see you later and explain it to you. Okay? My mother-in-law's attitude softened a bit, and she hummed in agreement. As soon as I hung up the phone, Ashton got up. Be careful what you say to Mom. This is between us and has nothing to do with Winnie. Even at this moment, he was still thinking about Winnie. I didn't answer and left with my bag. When I got to my mother-in-law's house, she came out to greet me. First, she stroked my face. Yvonne, have you been bullied? Why have you lost so much weight? My nose tingled, and tears welled up in my eyes. After holding them back for a while, I couldn't help but let them fall. I didn't have parents since I was a child, and my mother-in-law is the kindest elder to me as I grew up. So she's not just my mother-in-law, but also my mother. It must be that brat. I've heard about it. Don't feel wronged. Mom will make the decision on this matter. If he dares to divorce you because of that woman, I'll break his legs. I quickly grabbed my mother-in-law. I'm the one who brought up the divorce. My mother-in-law was stunned and looked at me in confusion. After hesitating for a moment, she could only sigh. All these years, I've been revolving around this family. I don't have my own life anymore. I want to leave Ashton and lead the life I want. It just so happens that I can also fulfill their wishes. My mother-in-law calmed down and looked at me with pity in her eyes. She tucked my stray hair behind my ear. She said earnestly, "You've worked so hard all these years." In fact, my mother-in-law knew everything. It's just that one was her biological son and the other was me. And there were some things she was powerless to manage. I hugged my mother-in-law. Thank you, Mom. Silly child. What are you talking about? Just stay here and rest well during this time. Mom will cook delicious food for you. I stayed there for a week. During that time, Ashton sent me messages and called me. But I didn't answer any of them. After a couple of days, he got tired of asking and naturally didn't bother anymore. I guess he went to accompany Winnie. Anyway, since no one was bothering me, I was happy to be at ease. My senior suddenly called me and asked if I was ready. And I remembered that the 1-month deadline was approaching. Before I left, I greeted my mother-in-law and told her about my plan. My mother-in-law supported me. You've worked so hard for this family all these years. You should pursue what you want. Mom promises to keep this a secret for you. But remember, this will always be your home. If you encounter any difficulties, come back. I nodded solemnly. My mother-in-law held my hand and shed a tear. Yvonne, you're a good child. It's just that Ashton was blinded by that fox spirit and didn't cherish you. He will regret it. Whether he regrets it or not has nothing to do with me anymore. When I left, my mother-in-law watched until I was out of sight. Before she knew it, tears had streamed down her face. I thought I was invincible, but I was still touched by her sincerity. As soon as I got home, the room was piled up with a lot of things. Plus, I had previously cleaned up all my traces one by one. So this home seemed to have a new owner. I was slightly stunned. Just then, the door was opened. Ashton was carrying a bag, and Winnie naturally hung on his arm. The two of them were chatting and laughing. When they saw me, their smiles suddenly froze. Ashton instinctively pulled his hand away and avoided my gaze. He asked, "Yvonne, when did you come back? Why didn't you say something in advance? If I did, wouldn't I be interrupting the sweetness between you two?" I put on my slippers and walked into the room. The master bedroom was filled with Winnie's luggage, and my things were placed in the corner outside the door, looking like a pile of garbage, casually arranged. Ashton wanted to follow me, but when he saw me standing silently at the door, he stopped. Well, 2 days ago, Winnie was almost violated by a neighbor. Fortunately, having fulfilled me, I arrived in time. Winnie has a psychological shadow and doesn't dare to live outside. So I had to bring her home. Sister Yvonne, don't worry. I won't bother you here for too long. I'm just scared. I've been looking for a house these days. I swept my eyes around and my gaze stopped on Winnie's face. She looked innocent on the surface but was actually full of calculations. I slightly curled my lips. It seems like you're already settling in. And you say you won't bother for long? Ashton's face darkened. Can't you have some compassion? Winnie was almost violated. You're a woman. How can you say such heartless words? Let Winnie talk sweetly to him. I'm not in the mood to deal with them. I entered the room. And Winnie blocked my way. Looking confident. Sister Yvonne. Your things are all over there. After all, I've put my things here. It's not very appropriate for you to come in again. Is it? I sneered. I haven't left yet. And you're already acting like the mistress of the house? Winnie hugged Ashton's arm. This time, she didn't even bother to pretend anymore. Ashton. There are some valuable things in there. It's okay for Sister Yvonne to come in. But what if something goes missing? What should we do then? Ashton thought for a moment. Patted the back of Winnie's hand. And comforted her. Go back to your room and rest. I'll take care of this. Winnie turned around and gave me a triumphant look. The smile on her lips was full of mockery. She entered the room and closed the door in one smooth motion. Yvonne. You can stay in the second bedroom for today. I promise I'll give the room back to you tomorrow. This is a special situation today. I collected my things. Kicked the door open. And put my things into the bedroom. Winnie was startled by the sound and quickly hid behind Ashton. I rolled up my sleeves and walked into the room. Throwing Winnie's things out. Winnie tried to stop me. But she couldn't. She shouted at me angrily. Yvonne. What are you doing? Don't go too far. Ashton grabbed my wrist. Furrowed his brows. And lowered his voice. Yvonne. Why have you become like this? Winnie is just staying here for a couple of days. I've told you that. I'll find a house for her and she'll move out in a few days. Can't you tolerate her? I can't stand any sand in my eyes. I shook off Ashton and continued to throw things. I kept throwing until I was tired. Until I couldn't deal with them anymore. Until I was in a better mood. Winnie rushed towards me. Waving her hands. Yvonne. How dare you touch my things? Do you know how much these things you've thrown are worth? How are you going to compensate for them? Winnie couldn't pretend to be gentle and magnanimous anymore. Finally, having fulfilled lay and sigh. She revealed her true colors. I was really tired of seeing it. Now I'm still the mistress of this house. Ashton. If you really can't bear to part with your childhood sweetheart sister. Let's get a divorce in a week. It will just fulfill you to scumbags. Yvonne. You're being unreasonable. Winnie pointed at me and couldn't say anything for a long time. She could only call out Ashton's name. Ashton was helpless but didn't say anything more. Winnie stomped her foot in dissatisfaction and ran out. This time, unlike before, Ashton didn't chase after her. Instead, he took my hand and sighed. Why do you have to be like this? You know that you've always been the one in my heart. I pulled my hand away and shook my head with a cold heart. How can I make you believe that there's nothing between me and Winnie? She's just too pitiful. Then you can cherish her well. You don't need to act affectionate in front of me. I don't care about their relationship at all. Before he could make another move, I closed the door. Looking at the things that still belonged to Winnie in the room, I just felt disgusted. The bedroom had been defiled. I packed all her things and opened the door to throw them out. I didn't expect Ashton to still be at the door. He didn't make a sound. I thought he had left in a huff long ago. When he saw me open the door, he called out, Yvonne. Don't forget that we're getting a divorce. It's better that we don't interfere with each other during this time. I closed the door. And the room was finally a bit quieter. The next morning, when I got up, I saw a jewelry box at the door. When I opened it, there was a necklace inside. I used to like it a lot in the previous life. When I saw that Ashton had bought it, I was secretly happy for a long time. But after waiting for a long time and not getting him to give it to me, I realized that Winnie had a new necklace around her neck. Looking at it now, I just felt it was ironic. Do you like it? Ashton suddenly appeared and reached out to hug me. I pushed him away and threw the jewelry box into his arms. He covered up his panic and said stubbornly, I remember you said you liked this before. I bought it for you specially this time. Yvonne. Don't be ungrateful. I used to like it very much. But feelings always change. I don't like it now. Then what do you want? This was the first time I saw him so eager. Unfortunately, having fulfilled my obsession, it was too late. If it were me in the previous life, I would probably have been coaxed easily. I pointed outside the door and said word by word. I want you to get lost. You. He pointed at me. After a long while, he took a deep breath and suppressed his anger. I've already given you a way out. What else do you want? I'm not in the mood to listen to his nagging. No matter why he suddenly changed his attitude. But after suffering once and losing my life, if I were to turn back, I would really be a fool. I pushed him aside and went out. Ashton tried to grab my wrist, but I dodged and gave him a warning look. In the end, I walked away without saying anything. I went to the mall to pick out some clothes for myself. I hadn't really gone shopping for myself in all these years. Yvonne? I turned around and saw my senior. I thought I had mistaken someone. Unexpectedly, it's really you. I was also a bit surprised. Senior. Why are you here? I'm here to pick up the newly hired employees. Pick whatever you like. Consider it the company's welcome gift for you. I wasn't polite. I picked a dress I liked. After paying for it, I treated him to a meal. Have you taken care of all your family matters? Does your husband allow you to go on a business trip for such a long time? I don't know if it was an illusion or not. But I felt that my senior was carefully testing me. You used to be so obsessed with him. I said naturally. I'm divorced. I guess I was blind before. Now I've seen clearly. He took my hand. And his eyes lit up instantly. Really? Maybe he felt that something was not right. He withdrew his hand and apologized to me. On the last day of the cooling-off period, the notification sound of my phone rang. After that unpleasant incident, I hadn't seen Ashton for a few days. When I saw him at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau today, Ashton looked much more haggard. After finishing the formalities, I moved my luggage out of the house. Where are you going? Let me give you a ride. Ashton was a bit nervous. Just as I was about to refuse, I saw two figures entangled not far away. Judging from the figure, the woman looked a bit like Winnie. I had some impression of the man. He seemed to be Winnie's ex-husband. Ashton's face turned dark. What a wonderful show. I pushed my suitcase and was about to leave. I just happened to brush past Winnie. Winnie was a bit surprised. She turned around and just met Ashton's gaze. Ashton. It's not what you think. Listen to my explanation. Ashton pushed her away and shouted. Yvonne. Wait for me. Don't leave. I heard him. But I didn't stop. I have no interest in the complicated and messy relationship among the three of them. I'm afraid that if I gossip any more, I'll get a sty in my eye or my ears will fester. Ashton was finally stopped by Winnie and didn't catch up with me. I let out a sigh of relief. When I was leaving the gate, I just happened to meet my senior. He ran over to help me carry my luggage. I thought the days after leaving would be difficult. But I didn't expect that time would pass so quickly during this period. When I was busy with the project, time passed very fulfillingly and freely. I was also satisfied with this busy life. The most important thing was that I made a lot of friends. During this time, Ashton called me many times and sent me a lot of messages. After a long time, I got impatient and simply changed my phone number. One day, I wasn't feeling well. My senior told me to go back to the dormitory early and said he would come to see me later. I didn't try to be brave. There was a knock on the door. I quickly went to open it. But the moment I saw Ashton, my smile disappeared instantly. Yvonne. He said cautiously. Ashton had changed a lot. He looked more haggard, much thinner, and not as energetic as before. The face that once made my heart flutter at first sight now only filled me with endless annoyance when I saw it again. Just as I was about to close the door, he quickly took a step forward and stopped me. Can we talk? I have nothing to say to you. I simply refused him and tried to close the door. But Ashton refused to give up and directly stepped forward to hug me. I'm sorry. Yvonne. I know I was wrong. I was a jerk before. I was blind and couldn't recognize people clearly. Now I realize that the person I've always loved is you. Yvonne. I really can't live without you. Can you give me another chance? I pushed him away with all my might. Ashton seemed a bit hurt but was still carefully probing. Winnie was just using me. He told me that Winnie was after his current power and money. And in fact, She was still secretly involved with her ex-husband. He also learned how Winnie had threatened me at home back then. He had just been carried away at that time, thinking that she was his childhood friend and sister, and he should take good care of her. But now he knew he was wrong and asked me to give him another chance. Ashton was so strong that I couldn't break free at all. Ashton, let go of me. We're already divorced and have nothing to do with each other anymore. Afraid that he might do something extreme, I struggled desperately. Just when I ran out of strength, Ashton was suddenly pulled away. My senior rushed over and punched him hard. I leaned against the wall, gasping for breath, feeling a lingering fear as if I had narrowly escaped death. My senior came over and supported me. Yvonne, are you okay? I shook my head. Ashton was stunned for a moment and pointed at me. Yvonne, it hasn't been long and you already have a new lover? Or have you been hooking up with this scoundrel for a long time? I stepped forward and slapped him hard. Ashton, watch your mouth. If anyone had an affair, it was Ashton who cheated first. Besides, there was nothing between me and my senior. Ashton grabbed my shoulders. Tell me when I'm not as good as him. Why are you so impatient and lonely? You found someone new so quickly. How about you dump him and come back to me? I can do everything he can and do even better. He was really crazy. Ashton was pulled away again, and my senior punched him hard once more. It was the first time I saw this side of my senior. Usually, he was gentle and polite to everyone. Ashton covered his face and looked at me. This is trespassing. You'd better leave quickly, having so failed my session. Or I'll call the police. Ashton had no choice but to leave. Before leaving, he pointed at my senior. You just wait for me. Yvonne, I won't give up. I'll come back to see you. After he left, I let out a sigh of relief. My senior asked with concern. Yvonne, are you okay? My face looked a bit ugly. Also because I was a bit sick. I realized for the first time that Ashton was really rotten to the core. I was so blind before to like him to that extent. 2 years later, the project was completed, and I was promoted to a shareholder. My net worth was getting higher and higher. When I returned to Xicheng, I heard that Ashton had gone bankrupt. Winnie had been pestering him. Ashton couldn't stand it and beat her up. Later, Winnie had a miscarriage. Only then did they find out that she was pregnant. Under the pressure of public opinion, Ashton had to marry her. But Ashton was cautious and secretly did a paternity test. Only then did he discover that the child Winnie was carrying was someone else's. He immediately got a divorce. Winnie refused and threatened to commit suicide. By accident, she really fell off the building and died. This incident caused quite a stir. And Ashton's company was also affected by this public opinion. As time went by, the company couldn't withstand the pressure. The stock price kept dropping until it announced bankruptcy. I went to visit my mother-in-law. She was living in a small, dilapidated building at this time and looked much older. When my mother-in-law saw me, her eyes couldn't help but turn red, but she turned her back to me, not daring to look at me. Mom, cutting fulfilled wide sigh. I'm sorry. I'm late. My mother-in-law was haggard and said with a trembling voice. You go. I have no face to see you. Mom, right? Are you blaming me? I squatted down. My mother-in-law was really kind to me. I couldn't bear to make her sad. I just have no face to see you. Those things Ashton did. I knew everything. I learned it from my mother-in-law. After Ashton went bankrupt, he took out the last sum of money to gamble and got deeply involved in it after just one time, losing everything. Then he owed a lot of debts and was finally arrested. My mother-in-law almost fainted when she found out but still managed to pull through. Could all of this be said to be his own doing? My mother-in-law's eyes were red. Yvonne, I know I have no right to ask you for anything. But, after all, he is my son. Before he went in, the person he most wanted to see was you. Can you go and see him? Just to fulfill my wish. I couldn't resist my mother-in-law's pleading and agreed. When I went to see Ashton, he was wearing a prison uniform and was completely different from before. When Ashton saw me, his eyes dodged a bit. Seeing me like this. Are you satisfied? I shook my head helplessly. Ashton, after going through so much, You really haven't improved at all. Mom has worried so much about you. Can I say that you really deserve it? Ashton's Adam's apple twitched. But he finally said nothing. If I had cherished you back then, would it not have come to this? No. I replied calmly. A person like Ashton would never turn back until he suffered. I told him some things about my previous life. Picking and choosing. If these things hadn't happened, you would never have thought of cherishing me. You're just that kind of person. In simple terms, a dog can't change its nature. He covered his face and said with a sobbing voice. Yvonne. I know I was wrong. But it was all too late, wasn't it? I walked out of the door. After saying these things and seeing Ashton like this, I felt much calmer. All the things in my previous life finally found some comfort, and I let out a sigh of relief in my heart. My senior was waiting for me outside the door. I was a bit surprised. Let's go. Everyone plans to hold a celebration party for you on the first day you're back to congratulate you on your promotion. He was holding a bunch of sunflowers in his hand. Against the light. They seemed to be growing towards the sun. I took the flowers and went to the party with him. I had already taken care of my mother-in-law. I found her a house and hired a nanny to take care of her. Which was also a way to repay her for taking care of me all these years. As for Ashton, I didn't go to see him again later. I just knew that he was living an ordinary life there and there was a chance of getting a reduced sentence. In this life, I lived the way I wanted. I hope for every happy day.